Just the day in the life of driving a modified car in Sydney. I'm getting done for absolutely everything. How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to fill you in on my recent experience of being defected, having my registration cancelled, and how you might reduce the risk of this happening to you. First of all, I got to start by saying that I fully accept that this is a modified car, and it's modified beyond the legal roadworthiness in New South Wales in Australia. So I live in Australia, and here we have very strict laws regarding vehicles and how they can be modified. They are very strict with the enforcement of that and the certification around that as well. So I fully accept I have been driving a modified vehicle on the road. So the Civic, she's been parked in storage for the past 3 months, and I've been really up and down about making this video, but you know, this is quite upsetting to me because I love this car. So I thought, nah, we are making this video. I've had some serious automotive highs on this channel, and I guess this only forms part of the story and my journey on YouTube. So yeah, the joys of modifying cars. So we go back to September, and this is the week after the Well Time Attack Challenge. It's a Monday afternoon, queuing in heavy traffic going home from work. So I'm sitting in heavy traffic on Pennant Hills Road and at the intersection to Aiken Road. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this highway patrol pull in behind us. So it's like 5 or 6 cars back. As we turn onto Aiken Road, his lights go on. And I'm like, yeah, he's probably just got someone on their phone at the lights. So all of us, we pull over into this bus zone. But he stops in the middle of the road, he lets everyone else pass, and he pulls in behind me. So it was obviously targeted. And yeah, he goes, "I've pulled you over for the purposes of a breath test." Yeah, right. It's not my first rodeo. I've been through this before. Then he gets to the real reason and he goes, "I see you have some big tires, so I'm going to go through the car. What's done to it?" To which I respond, "Just the usual, and wheels and a drop." I mean, it's just the usual for me. So bonnet up, and at this point, there's no point hiding anything. You know, I knew I was already stuffed. So I answered him truthfully about everything, you know, the turbo kit, the suspension, everything he asked, I responded truthfully. And I'm literally copying it from this senior constable. Every response I gave him, it was met with like, "Oh, what are you thinking? You know, how can you put everyone else on the road at risk? You're going to kill someone." All those kind of responses, and I'm just copying it from him. And I guess that's what I'm pretty annoyed about. You know, this guy couldn't have a normal conversation, and it's not my first time. You know, 2018, I had another Civic which also got defected, and I was copying it from this general duty at an RBT station. I had a bucket seat. This was after a track day. Had a Sparco bucket seat in there. And he was like, "What's it like sitting on a park bench?" You know, all those kind of comments, they always have to add their 2 cents. There's absolutely no respect. They always do this to trigger some sort of a reaction from you. It's not worth it. Best just bite your tongue. And those who know me know that I'm not the type to run my mouth at a cop anyway. I guess in a way they're just doing part of their job. So he's got his list of defects. He's going back to his car to process it. And he goes to me, "You best ring a tow truck because you can't drive it from here." I live literally 5 minutes down the road, yeah, regardless, I ring around. I could not get anyone because it's Monday afternoon, it's peak hour traffic, it's like really hot, and yeah, all these other Subarus and Patrols are breaking down. So he comes back with the red label defect and 4 fines. So we'll go through these fines in a sec. 4 fines and 3 demerits. And to top things off, he says, "You cannot move your car from this point." And, you know, we're in a bus zone. So coming off Pennant Hills Road, it's 2 lanes into 1 with a bus zone on the side. And this was really frustrating for me because I'm like, look, surely you just let me move it out of harm's way. For the past half hour, he's just been going on about safety and how I have been so unsafe, yet he wouldn't let me move myself out of an unsafe situation. So I just thought that was quite unjust. And we're kind of arguing at this point because it just didn't make sense to me that I would have to leave my car in the bus zone or wait for a tilt truck for the next hour in a bus zone where cars are merging. Like, what am I supposed to do, and how is this safe by leaving my Civic on the road? I was even trying to explain all the little detail down to him. Even if I went home to get my cruiser and the trailer, I need at least 15 meters in front of me. And even if I got a tow truck, they're going to need some more space too. So it was just a shit show. And eventually he let me move the car 50 meters down the road into a bay. And I bet you he just wanted to see me beg. And as he leaves, he pulls his window down and says, "If I see you driving the car, I'm taking you to court." This guy, just something else. So I ended up waiting it out, and half an hour later, I got a tow truck to come down from Castle Hill, and he took me 5 minutes home. And that was the longest 5-minute tow I've ever had. You know, he was going on about how he'd had Lamborghinis, Ferraris, classics on the back. And yeah, I get it, it's just a Honda Civic. And then he dropped me off home. He was a nice guy. But yeah, that was my depressing story of how I got violated by yours truly, New South Wales Police. What an absolute power trip. So yeah, let's go through the fines. So 4 fines. I've never had 4 fines to go with a defect. So the first one, use modified vehicle on road without compliance certificate. That's $1,045. Yeah, I fully accept that. Fine number 2, use light vehicle with defective steering. So we'll go through this in a sec. We'll go look in the car. So this offense carries 3 demerit points and $410. Bit wild, but. Fine number 3, use light vehicle, not comply with emissions, silencer, noise standard. And he wrote on the defect notice that noise needs to be tested. You won't have heard this car. It is whistle quiet. So it's a 1.6 litre, and as soon as you put a turbo on it, you can't hear it. Even at the racetrack, it is so quiet. So I don't even know how he managed to get a decibel reading when my car was off. So $227. And the last fine, I have no idea why he slapped this one on. Use light vehicle, not comply with standard other. I have no idea. So $136, whatever. So in total, $1,818 and 3 demerit points. And yeah, so this is my defect list. And because it's a red label defect and he suspended the registration, it doesn't actually matter what he writes down here. It still needs to go through a full inspection under the authorized unregistered vehicle scheme. So let's have a look at the defects. All right, here we go. So here is my majorly defective Honda Civic. I picked it up for $400 and I've since spent about tens of thousands making it clean and perform well on the street. It has brand new front and rear brakes, which are really good. They've got good grippy tires, which sit within the guards. And this is a 205/50/15, which falls within the factory specification, allowing the 2 inches over stock. It's got excellent paint, and this car is very, very well taken care of, and it's got a carbon bonnet because it looks really good. So we get on to the defects. So the defects, the main thing was the turbo kit. Now out of the box, this car made about 60 kilowatts on the dyno, and because of that, I had to put a turbo kit on it, and it makes 136 kilowatts reliably, which is apparently too much power, and it's really dangerous. And because I put the turbo kit on, it actually made the engine too quiet, so I went and put a full exhaust, which exits all the way out the back, and yeah, it is still whistle quiet. So yeah, we'll get into the interior defects. Inside the car, he's defected the Sparco seat. So I bought this to keep me safe on the track. And he's also noted down that these I-harness bolts are defective and they come from Bunnings. Except I bought these from a race shop in Sydney, and I use these so I can disconnect my race harnesses and run the factory seatbelt on the street. Next defect is the steering wheel, because apparently not having an airbag can harm someone else really badly. And also the quick release, which I agree is a defect. The next thing he picked on was the windscreen tint. I'm not sure why this is defective, but apparently you're not allowed to have them. The Civic also has hard race suspension, which is amazing. And I bought those because of the Sydney roads. They're terrible. And it sits at a very sensible height with plenty of clearance underneath. And the last thing is that this car was apparently too loud, although he never tested it, and it needs a full emissions and sound test. You idiots. This car is so clean, and it really hurts me that it's off the road now. But yeah, you know what? It is what it is, and I hope you guys learn from it. If you have a very clean, well looked after car, chances are you are going to be on their radar. So, you know, some skinnier tires, but try to keep it as subtle looking as possible is the only way you avoid their attention. So yeah, this obviously really hurts for me. This is my favorite car, and I can't believe that it's off the road. So Although I am upset, I am settled with this idea of it being off the road for a little while, because next year I've got quite a bit going on. But mark my words, it'll be back on the road. So that's my story of how I got destroyed by New South Wales Police. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one.